With Tartaglia having a banner in the second half of 4.0, we're going to be talking about his place in the meta, his relevancy, the artifacts and weapons he uses, his teams, and whether or not he's going to be a good pull for your account. Let's get into it. Tartaglia's biggest strength is his ability to have a lot of AoE hydro application, as well as having good personal damage. What this also means is that he can't be directly replaced in some teams by units like Iwato, for example. So the Tartaglia international team is his best team, and Iwato cannot replace him without it being a strict downgrade. Iwato can't enable Xiangling in the way that Tartaglia can, and the rotations sync up with Tartaglia's cooldowns really well, so this enables him to function best in those teams, and those units function best with him on field. The biggest issue with Tartaglia, however, is that he can't be a dedicated full on-fielder. So this means that he can't enable taser teams as well as Iwato can. Like when you look at a Tartaglia taser team and an Iwato taser team, generally Iwato will function better than Tartaglia will. Other teams are a bit more variable, so for example, Iwato and Tartaglia can have similar performances in Burgeon teams. It just really depends on the specific teams that you're running, which I'm going to go over later in the video. When it comes to his weapon options, he has some pretty decent variety. So with 3 stars, we have the slingshot, which you'll be getting a lot of, and if you don't have any of his good 4-star options, it's pretty viable. But it isn't exactly an amazing weapon to have on him, it's just something that you can use if you don't have any of his 4 stars. When it comes to his 4-star options, you have the craftable weapons and you have the gacha weapons. His craftables are okay, you can get decent mileage out of things like Hamayumi and Prototype Crescent. King Squire as well, they're all generally similar, it's just you kind of build around whether or not you can get the weak spot passive for Prototype Crescent or not. And then he also has access to Stringless and Moan's Moon, which are pretty decent weapons on him, especially when you're going to be vaping on your burst. Rust is kind of bait on Tartaglia. I don't really like it, it's not insanely good on him. It's not that good on him just because it reduces your charge attack damage, and when you're in your melee form, you'll be doing a lot of charge attacks. When it comes to his 5 stars, his options actually start becoming really good. So his absolute best in slot is Polar Star if you're able to pre-stack the bow. If you're not able to pre-stack it, then it falls in the same power level as Aqua Simulacra and the First Great Magic. In the tier below that, you would have Hunter's Path and Skyward Harp, which are pretty good generic stat sticks that he's able to get good mileage out of. Other bows include the Almost Bow and Elegy of the End. They're not great on him, especially Elegy. I wouldn't use that at all. However, Almost Bow I've seen people use, and it's okay. However, even Viridescent Hunt beats it, so you generally want to try and use other 5-star options if they're available, or a Viridescent Hunt. So as mentioned earlier, his staple team is the International, so that's Tartaglia, Xiangling, Bennett, and then an Anemo Flex. However, Kazuha is the most played and is generally the best one. This team has really good AoE damage while still maintaining really high single target damage as well. So the rotations for it I'm showing on screen now, but it's a fair simple team and it's really good at low investment, and it has really good scaling at high investment as well with your Xiangling. It's a really solid team. It's been a staple in the game since the beginning, and it's still going strong. Another team that I'm going to be showing on screen now is the Intergrational team. So it's a Burgeon with a Kazuha trigger. You can play other variations, like a traditional Toma trigger Burgeon. However, the Intergrational with Kazuha is just really fun to play. You can get a swirl setup for the hydro damage, and then you burst so that he infuses with Pyro from Bennett, and it just triggers all the Burgeons. Really fun to play, solid damage all around, especially when you're running a Nahida. You get the EM buff so your Tartag's burst does a huge vape. It's a really fun team. When it comes to his Taser teams, he's generally outperformed by Iwato. However, he is still playable in Taser. He just won't have the immediate impact and power in those teams that an Iwato would have. Variations to the International team that a lot of players like is the ability to use Sucrose instead of Kazuha. However, the rotations on that one is a little more finicky than it is with Kazuha, so I personally prefer the Kazuha variation. And those are generally his teams. They're pretty easy to play around, they're not super high investment requirement. However, teams like the International team do scale quite well with investment, so it's worth going for Tartaglia if you want to play these teams or you like the look of these teams. However, it is important to note that some of these variations do require some other 5 stars that you might have in other teams, so it's worth keeping that in mind when you're deciding what teams you're going to play with Tartaglia and what teams you want to be investing in. When it comes to artifacts, Tartaglia is pretty flexible, so he can function really well with just 2-piece attack sets, just a 2-piece Glad and a Shimanoa. He can also function really well in a 2-piece Heart of Depth and a 2-piece attack, so again, 2-piece Glad or 2-piece Shimanoa. It can also function really well with the Nymph's Dream artifact set. However, it's a bit of a weird one to farm, and so if you have other pieces, they're generally going to perform pretty similarly. So there's not a huge need to farm for that when you're able to get just as good mileage out of double 2-piece attack or 2-piece Hydro 2-piece attack. But the main thing is that he functions super well with just the 2-piece mix and match, so you just get whatever stat line is the best and then you can go run with that. So overall, is Tartaglia a valuable pull? As always, pull the characters that you want to play and the characters that you like, because that's how you're going to get the most enjoyment out of a game. I do feel, however, if you're wanting to build a meta account, Tartaglia is an amazing asset to have, because he just completely enables Xiangling teams, and we're living in a Xiangling paradise, so that's just how it is. He also has some pretty fun teams with like Burgeon and Taser. However, Taser is very much outshone by Iwatodai. One of the biggest issues with trying to gauge Tartaglia's pull value is the fact that other units exist, like Iwatodai, that are able to do aspects of his job better than him, and so that forces Tartaglia from being a generalist good pull, like how he was back when he released with Taser and International. Now he's a bit more niche on specific teams, so if you want to play those teams, he is a absolutely amazing high value pull. If you don't want to play those teams, his pull value drastically drops because he is not highly flexible like other picks are. However, at the end of the day, again, pull the characters you like, pull the characters you want to play. With all that said, hope you enjoyed the video. Leave a like, subscribe, comment, let me know if you have Tartaglia, if you don't have him, if you want him, if you don't want him. Share this video to somebody who's trying to pull him. Maybe they will, maybe they won't after this video, we'll see. Yeah, I hope you enjoyed it, so I'll see you in a future video. Bye now.